Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Chasing Moonlight Farm. My name's Renee, and today we're doing our chicken processing, and we're going to bring you along for a little bit of that. We are not the best at videotaping the whole process, but I am going to show you our setup so that you can see how simple this is. It's not hard to do in your backyard. We removed the canopy. What's that called? I can't think. My brain's mush this morning. And we moved it over to our side yard here. This just gives us some shade to work under. We have a few coolers here. This is to keep the birds nice and chilled until we can bag them up. In the first cooler, we have just water and vinegar. That's where it's going to go right after I eviscerate, which is scoop out all the innards. I'll put it in there for just a few seconds, and then we come over here, and these are ice baths basically to keep them nice and cold. There's also a little bit of vinegar in those, probably about a quarter, half a cup, maybe a quarter cup. So we have a couple of these ice baths, and there's our extra coolers, which we probably will need. Now these coolers will hold the chickens after we do the vinegar bath, just to get the extra blood and stuff off. Then this is where they stay until we can get to them to bag them. Usually it's just me and my husband, so they could stay in there a good long time. Sometimes you have to replace the ice. You want to keep it nice and cold, but they'll stay in there for at least 10 minutes, if not longer, if not hours for us, until we can get to them. We have a fan that kind of blows on us to keep the flies away. They're not too bad today because it's nice and coolish out. This is my eviscerating table. This is where I will do the cutting. I have a pair of shears. This is like bone shears. I really don't know what these are. They are Fisker, I believe. Wait. Can you see that? I can't see that. Good grips. Sorry. These are good grips. I use those for snapping off the neck. And I have two knives, one main knife and a backup knife. I do use rubber gloves only like if I have a cut or something on my hand like I do today. I'm going to use a rubber glove on my left hand because I already had an accident processing chicken. But this is my main table. I have another two tables back behind me here. These will be where we are drying the chickens and preparing them for bagging. I have extra paper towels. I have a vinegar and Dawn dish soap spray cleaner. I have cleaned down all the tables so they are nice and clean. Backup vinegar is under there. Now these are optional, but I use these for if I have my kids helping or I don't want to burn my hand. These are gloves. Oh crap. These are gloves to help when you're bagging them up and dipping them in the hot water. You don't want to burn your hand. This just ensures that. They're elbow length rubber gloves. I got those on Amazon. I'll try to link those below. A couple of pens to write the date. To write the date on the bag. Oops, they're upside down. No, yeah. I usually just write the date. You can write the pounds and all that if you want. And these are the bags I got. I also got those from Amazon. It's flpoultryshrinkbags.com. They even have step-by-step on how to do it. Now, what I don't do, and I'll show you this later when we bag, is I use a metal straw for that to get all the air out. And I will show you that as we go along. Okay, we've got a propane tank here. This is where we'll set our pot. You don't need a special pot. It can be just a stock pot, a pressure canner that's safe for heating over propane. I'm probably just going to use my old water bath canner, fill it with water. The temp needs to be 185 degrees, so you'll need a thermometer to make sure that it's 180 to 185 for shrink wrapping the birds. Okay, over here we've got, my husband just built this little frame, and we actually used 5-gallon buckets to create the, what they're called killing cones. And you will put the bird in head down, the neck comes through the hole, and it keeps them, hugs them real tight in there so they stay calm. And then you can do your cutting of the neck. Well, and a bucket for the parts, the blood, a bucket for the blood. Then we come here to, actually, we're gonna go there. Then we come over here for the water that will loosen the feathers up. That needs to be about 145 degrees. Not too hot, or it will literally melt the skin off. So about 145 is what you want this. And you just dip your bird till the feathers are loose, and then it goes straight into the plucker. We have the, I think it's called Yardworks. Honestly, I forgot. I got it at Home Depot last year, but it's one of the cheaper ones, but it works well. It's connected to a water hose. And this will pull all the feathers off, most of the feathers, pretty darn well, and get that taken care of before it's brought back over here to me. One thing I forgot to point out is these 2 buckets. This is for the necks, the head, and the feet if you're not keeping those. If you are keeping the heads, or I mean not the head, but the feet or the neck, you can certainly have gallon baggies sitting here. Just a few times, you know, throughout the day, this table will get messy. I will come and wash it all down again with soap and vinegar, and make sure this stays really clean. Rinsing off my knives with soap and vinegar a couple times throughout the day. You don't want that to get all germy or be out in the heat too much. So that helps with that. What else? I think that's it. Okay, I think that's it. We're gonna get started. We'll try to show you a little bit as we go along. If we're not able to catch everything, which we likely won't because we're gonna be just in work mode to get things done. But we'll try to show you a little bit and show you the final product when we're all finished. And sometimes your plucker doesn't work exactly as you want it to. Oh, the light's terrible. And you have to pluck it by hand anyway. Boy. All right, we're ready. We're just gonna grab our sharp knife, and where he made the initial cut is where we're gonna cut the head off. So I'm just gonna use my sharp knife and just go around, keep your fingers out of the way. Okay, this one's not very sharp, so we're gonna try another one. And all I'm doing is cutting the skin, really. And then I'm just gonna snap the neck off. or the head off, sorry. If that won't work, if that doesn't work, my knives are a little dull, and you can just use your scissors, throw that away. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take the skin off this neck. So we're just going to make a little slit, pinch it up, make a little slit till it's open. There's a lot of fat on there. And you'll find the esophagus, it's got right in the middle. Just want to cut that. And then just go around just like we did with the head and cut the skin. And we're just going to pull that off. Now all we're left with is a bare neck, and you can save the neck, we don't. I'm just going to take my shears, my elbow out of the way, snap that off, throw it in my trash bucket. Okay, now we're ready to do the feet. The feet are super simple. You just find the joint, and that's where you make your slit, is just between the joints. You're not going to be cutting through bone. You'll just go between the joints, and it will just cut really easily. You're just cutting joints. See, there's the bone. And you can also keep these for broth. They make really great bone broth, but we're not keeping them today. Well, maybe later, but not right now. Same over here, you just kind of bend it down. You can see where it's kind of where the joint is. That's where you start your cut. Super simple. Again, make sure you have really sharp knives. It makes your job so much easier. Okay. Next thing we're going to do is take out all the insides. We're going to make a little slit. I kind of pinch it and do it like halfway. Okay, and what you're going to do then is just pull the skin apart. It doesn't bother me. And the reason I don't wear gloves on both hands, I have an injury on this hand, but I can feel better when my fingernails can feel where the organs are, and I can't feel them well with the glove on. Okay, so you're going to take your fingers, go all the way up the back, and you'll feel the organ, and you want to just scrape with your fingernails and loosen them from you can feel the connective tissue connecting them to the bone. So you just loosen that connective tissue all the way around, and you want to be real gentle. So basically what you're doing is you're cupping all the organs in your hand as you scoop. Go around and break the connective tissue, go around this way and break the connective tissue, and then you should be able to pull most things out. The bottom part is the hardest. Because it sits right on that back, or right on the bottom there. This is a little bit of a process, because you don't want to break the bile sac, which then you'll have that green goo in your bird, and you can rinse all that out. That's fine, but if you don't get it all, it'll make your bird bitter, taste bitter. Okay, we're getting it. Okay, so you can see there's the heart. there's the liver that looks nice and healthy. That's the gizzard. And the intestines. And out comes the esophagus. And you want to be real careful because you also have the bile sac, which is right there. And you do not want to cut that, like I said. There's even some poop in there, so you want to make sure you pull super gentle. And we did, so we're going to get that off real gentle. Get all that stuff put in the throwaway bucket, and we still have some little organs in here. These are, I think that's a kidney. Little tiny things. Go back in for the lungs because they sit right inside the rib cage. There's one. You come along the other side. There's one on the right, there's one on the left, just like the human. There's the other lung. Looks nice and clean, pretty clean. I'm gonna go ahead and cut the vent area. What I do for that is just make a slit on each side. Okay, my knife needs to be sharpened. Okay, just cut on the side there like that. And there's just that little pouch area where the vent is, and all you're left with is the tail. Make sure we got everything on there. We did. On this side, you want to make sure there's a little bit of the esophagus left. You want to make sure you pull that out. Either you can do it either through here, because nobody wants to find any lasting stringy pieces in their food. Okay, now last thing. On top, you flip it back over, breast down, and on the back there's this little pouch, and it's a gland, and you want to take that off very carefully because that's how I cut my finger. You want to get behind it, and you just want to try to get under it. I'll admit, it's really hard to get under because this is a small. Oh, see, I think I broke it. And again, if you break it, no big deal. Just rinse your bird super well. Oh, I got it. Well, maybe. I opened it a little bit. All right. And now we're going to rinse it off. Pull the rest of the feathers first, and then rinse it off and put it in our vinegar bath. Guys, we're tired, but we're over halfway there. Are we halfway there? I think we're about halfway there. So it's slow, steady progress. Hopefully we'll be finished by dark. If not, we'll have to finish tomorrow. All right, our coolers are filling up fast. Probably about, I don't know, 15, 12 birds in that one with ice water and vinegar, and a couple over here. And we ended up pouring out the water, pouring out the water and getting fresh water and cleaning that pot out before we start another 15 or so birds here and get that done. But these guys over here in the cooler and gals are ready to come out to the tables and dry. And in true Richard fashion, the gas burner we had out for doing the shrink bags did not work. So we had a backup, thank goodness. that we're setting on this table. And see, we're just using a water bath canner and for our shrink wrap our chickens, and that'll be just fine. Okay, here's about 15 of them. They're all laid out. They're going to be drying here. We've got some big ones in the mix, so I'm eager to weigh these and see how big they are. So we're just patting them down with paper towels, and then we'll flip them and pat them down again. The main reason for doing this, getting all the water you can, is obviously so they won't get so much freezer burn. Once they're shrink wrapped, you want to get all that water off. So that's what we're doing. How you doing, Nay?
Okay.
She's been my helper all day today.
Caleb.
Yeah, Caleb did too, didn't he? Get them nice and dry. It's nice, and then we'll flip them and do the backside.
You can flip.
Okay, so here's how you shrink wrap the chicken. You're gonna put it in. We didn't show that part, sorry. You put we have a metal straw that we're using right down the center, a zip tie, loosely, just not completely tight, because you're gonna tighten it after you dunk it. And that lets all the air escape through the hole. The instructions say put a slit in the bag on the belly, and we tried that last year and it did not work. The straw works a lot better. And you're gonna dunk this for no more than like 6 seconds total at 180 degrees. Now, of course, I showed you this earlier, the burner. This is the second burner we're trying to boil the water in, or not boil, but the pot for shrink wrapping the chickens, and it did not work. So now we've had to go and just take it over there and use that one. So we're gonna show you how this works. So we're gonna try it. My son's gonna use these gloves. These are really nice to have so you can dunk your hand without it burning, but there is a slit in that, Caleb, so be careful. Just dunk it all the way, don't let go.
You're letting all the air.
Yeah.
You've got to hold it like this and squeeze that air out. Now dunk it. Dunk it.
It won't hurt your hand. And keep it under there and count to 5. All right, guys, we got 15 shrink wrapped and on ice. That didn't really go as planned. The straw didn't work, so we had to do what the instructions said, which actually worked, which last year it didn't, and the straw worked. And this year the straw didn't work, but the instructions worked. So, trial and error, whatever. 15 are done and in the cooler, and that's all that matters. And we're gonna knock a few more out before dark, I believe. So here we go. Hey, bud. You ready to get these chickens done? You ready to get the chickens all done? Ooh. Ooh. Okay, so Hubby's back there doing the deed. We're on our second day, feels like a year, our second day of butchering. Hopefully we're gonna be finished sooner than yesterday. It was dark yesterday before we finished. We have 14 to go, something like that. So we hope to be finished today, and we can show you the finished product and have 37 birds in our freezer and food security, at least in chicken, for a little while. So let's get going. I think the little one's going to be out with us today because the girls are in there doing school. So we're going to be doing baby watching or kid watching and butchering chicken. So this will be fun. All right, guys, we did it. This is our last 14 birds. These were actually our smallest. I think our biggest topped out at 6.9 pounds, so almost right at 7 pounds. These all average about 5.5 pounds, 5 pounds. There's one in here that's 6.3 pounds. But they're, oh, I forgot to mark a couple. Oh no. But I like to mark the pounds so I know how much meat I can get off that because we're such a large family. So they're shrink wrapped. These will go straight into the fridge, for probably 3 days to let them rest. I think you can do 48 hours to 72 hours, something like that, to let them settle and rigor mortis to get past and all of that. Some people don't even do that, but that's what we're gonna do and get this finished. So glad to be done. Our yard's a mess with all the feathers and the cones and everything everywhere. The breeders or the tractors are empty and we're ready for a shower. Hallelujah. Amen.